Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues everywhere around the world, I would like to welcome you today in the second session on our workshop program. We started yesterday with the first webinar, and today the second session where we are addressing road safety for designers. Yesterday, we have addressed the road safety management and the role of road safety audits and the investigations in the road safety management plan. Before we start, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Wael Al-Hajjasim, Associate Professor at Qatar Transportation and Traffic Safety Center at Qatar University, and the chair of the Traffic Safety Analysis and Policy Group in the World Conference on Transport Research Society. I would like to welcome all of you, and I would like to, before we proceed on this webinar, to give you some general information about ground rules regarding the webinar today. All participants will be muted in default. So if you have any comment, you can put it in the comment item bar there on the screen, or if you have a specific question, you can also add that question in the Q&A bar on your screen. We are looking forward to your questions, and we will do our best to address these questions. But if we will not be able to cover all these questions, please bear with us some time. We will get back to you in the coming days with some feedback regarding your questions. As I mentioned earlier, this webinar is part of a 3 days, 3 sessions webinar. We received a lot of questions about certificates. So those who attend the 3 sessions full time, and our system can automatically identify that, will be able to receive an attendance certificate. So you don't need simply to contact us about the certificates. If you attend the 3 days, you will be able to receive an attendance certificate within 1 week to 10 days after the webinar. And also another small note regarding the links to join the webinars from yesterday to tomorrow, the 3 days, you can use the same link always to attend the webinar every day at 1 p.m. Doha time. Today webinar will be addressing very important issue in road safety, which is road safety on road design. So how designers need to consider road safety on their design. In this topic, we have our distinguished presenter, Engineer Miguel Santos. He is, I'm just moving the slides. No, it's not, yeah. Engineer Miguel Santos, he's a civil engineer with a vast experience on road safety and auditor. I think for the last 20 years, if not longer, he can correct me later. He's a senior road safety specialist in the United Nations for Project Services, UNOPS. And he had a long period of working in many areas around the world. Even in Qatar, he worked for some period with Ashghal as a senior road safety auditor to check the road safety along highways and roads. So I will give the floor to Miguel. Before that, just to remind you that this webinar is being organized by Qatar Transportation and Traffic Safety Center at Qatar University, the National Traffic Safety Committee of the State of Qatar, the International Road Federation, the World Conference on Transport Research Society, as well as Khatib and Alami Engineering Company. All of us joined efforts to develop this training program, and we hope with your support all to continue developing such and delivering such kind of opportunities. Miguel, the floor is yours. You can start. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, can you listen to me? Everyone can listen to me properly? Okay. I understand that is a yes. I would like to thank Dr. Wael for his kind words. That is the first thing that I would like to do. And as he said, I'm not going to correct him anything in any case, because everything that he has said about me is accurate. So the thing that we are going to be talking today is something that for me is very important. It's about road safety for designers. Normally, what we know when we are preparing a project is that we are going to be following the standard in order that we can make our road that is safe enough for the people. However, there are cases where complying with the standard does not guarantee road safety. And I'm going to try to explain this with examples, because the approach that I'm going to have in here is not to explain how to design, but explain how your design can be better if you're a designer. Because when I'm doing road safety audits, I can see the same problem once and again, and not for the same designer, because that would be that he never learned. It's from different designer in different parts of the world. So that makes me think that I should be able to help them to understand which are going to be the comments that I'm going to have in order that they can implement those kind of comments before that project goes live. Okay, let's see an example. For example, if we're having this kind of road, okay, where we got a T-junction, very easy. We got a very clear visibility to the left, very clear visibility to the right. However, if someone tries to pull from the main road to the small one, you can have a rear shunt collision, okay? So in order to avoid this kind of collisions, we can segregate and prepare a deceleration lane. With that kind of arrangement, the designer will say, wow, fantastic, I have done my road that it was like that, a little bit safer, differentiating the traffic that is going ahead and the traffic that is going to turn right, okay? But with this, he will realize that he has caused other problem where there was not before. That is the visibility, because now one car that is in the deceleration lane can very easily obstruct the vision of another car that is in the main lane, having this kind of right angle, 90-degree angles, T-bone junction, T-bone collisions, you know, that is very serious one. So you need to think a little bit over that one, that is, how can I sort it out? Because I wanted to make something that it was more or less safe to something safer. So if you allocate a little island where in the approach of the junction, the visibility will be maintained, and in that position, everything is going to be a lot safer. That is the kind of things that an auditor is going to explain when he's doing an audit, and the designer can take into board. But what happened? What if the designer put this one in advance of the auditor? Because what we auditor are aiming is that we don't have anything to comment about the design, to have the perfect design. That would be brilliant. And that is very difficult to get it, because no one is perfect. We are humans, all of us, we make mistakes. So in Qatar, I have centered this conference in Qatar. The National Road Safety Strategy has adopted the SAFE system, okay? And this SAFE system, it has two principles: that the people, they make mistake, and the body, the human body, has certain limit to tolerance any kind of injury, okay? So for that, you have different kind of cornerstones that you try to make safer roads, make a safer vehicles, safer speed, and safe road user, okay? Of course, all of this will be supported with good road safety management, as Javier was explaining yesterday, and the fifth pillar, that is the post-crash response, the golden hour that we call when we got an accident, how fast they are going to respond to attend the people that they have been affected. We have also this kind of design principle where with the SAFE system, we need to ask for 4 different questions. Can you have a head-on collision? Or can you have a T-bone collision or run off from the road? Or can you run over a pedestrian? So there are several prevention and segregation or mitigation measures that you can put in place, okay? So we have many problems, as I said, that they are repeated in every single project that we audit, okay, that we review. As I said, the designers that they are using it, they know the standard upside down. Of course, they play with them fantastically because it's their job. I was designer. I am designer too, okay? But I haven't put my skills in place since I was doing road safety audit. However, the lack of the knowledge of the safe system that is specifically said in the part 23 and part 24 of the QSDM is what I'm going to try to implement in here. Let's see how can I illustrate the improving of the design, taking into consideration what the road safety auditor is going to comment. Okay, let's talk about the pedestrian crossing first. Okay, our question in the safe system would be, having a collision with a pedestrian at 30 kilometers per hour will cause serious injury, even the death to the pedestrian, 30 kilometers or more, okay? So normally when we are designing, it's very usual that we have upgrade junctions, okay? Because not always we can do separate junctions, okay? So sometimes also we don't have the information about of the level of service of the pedestrian or the desired line of crossings. So we need to put our engineering skills and our common sense in order to make a supported assumption when we are doing the project, okay? So let's see several pictures like this, and you can tell me what can we see in here. For me, as you can see, this zebra crossing that we got in here is quite long. We are crossing three lanes, you know, plus this parking or hard shoulder or whatever you want to call it, okay? And about this distance, there is a lack of a stop line. So you can see that is very, very long crossing for a pedestrian that is going to try to do this one. The next part of this crossing, there is no continuity. You can see that is going directly from the road over the grass and later continue from the road. When in here, you can see that is the other part that it was able for the people to cross. So these kind of things, we need to be careful where we are allocating them, okay, in our design. First is the lack of continuation and the distance that they are crossing, 3 lanes in each direction. But on the other side of the road, you can see even more that the pedestrian crossing stopping here, we got a miscellaneous of road markings that they haven't been properly deleted, you know. And in here, what is here? What have we got in here? Is something for the cars to come in. When I arrive in here, do I need to jump? Why this is not extended to reach the curb? Okay, so these kind of things that we are going to be commenting, okay, they should be planified in advance, because the person that has done this project, I'm sure that he was thinking that, okay, I will put in here my pedestrian crossing, but I will have a continuation. No, mistake. The mistake is that you don't need to do anything by assumption, because whatever can it go wrong, it will be wrong, okay? So the findings that you can find in there from a road safety auditor perspective is drop curbs. The designer or the people that they did this project, they didn't put a drop curb, okay, because they are not provided. The vertical signs, there are no advance warning of a pedestrian crossing, and that is very important. So just imagine what I'm telling you, everything to be done in the project before the construction, okay? The road markings, there are conflicting road markings for the road user. Tactile paving, we don't have any tactile paving. How the people that they are a little bit impaired inside, you know, they are going to be orientating themselves, okay? Central island, there is no continuity in the crossing. Illumination, I haven't seen any illumination there. So when we are crossing the road, it's very important that we have that special area perfectly illuminated in order to be visible. You know, it's an area where the pedestrian, the more vulnerable road users, they are going to be interfering with the motorist, okay? So it's not good if it's not illuminated. Race table or road hump, that is something that you will comment when you don't have this kind of situation, because when you are crossing over 2 lanes, of a carriageway, and 2 lanes, I mean one each direction, because if you got 2 or more lane in one direction, you should put a push button, okay, if you paint the zebra marking. Otherwise, the pedestrian is going to be in danger. You are going to jeopardize their safety, okay? In Qatar, the things, they can be done well too. Look at this other junction. The drop curb, the push button in the middle, the refuge island, okay? So having this, that it can be done properly, we have seen before this other one. And it's even an arterial road that we got in here, okay? You can see when we got 1 lane in each direction, we can put the race table. So that is the proper mitigation for the speed. That's not a problem. And it's also indicating the vertical sign that you are going to have pedestrian crossing in that area. So what happened in the first pictures that we have been seeing here? Why different designers apply different way to understand the road? For example, this one. In this one, we got this filter that it has 1 pedestrian crossing, only 1 pedestrian crossing, because it's only 1 lane to filter. Okay, no problem at all. But they haven't raised the platform because they got a push button. But in here, in the other one that we got in here, we got two pedestrian crossing. 2 lanes for pedestrian crossing, and in here there was not push button for this one. It's a pity, but it's like that. Do you think that capacity is so important that you can risk the life of the pedestrians? Again, we got a pedestrian crossing allocated in a race table, in 1 lane in each direction. Remember, if you have 2 lanes in the same direction, even if you do the race table, it's a danger for the pedestrians, because the car situated or allocated in one of the lanes can stop, the pedestrian start crossing, and the other car may not stop. Okay. For example, this one, you are coming, and this is very well done. You got the pedestrian crossing with the drop curb. You got all the signals, allocated, no problem at all. But in this other area that you got in here, you have put nothing, no advance warning, the drop curb, but it hasn't got any tactile paving, as you can see in here, and it's coming from a very blind point that we got in here. And because it's a filter, it's not the same picture than before, because it's a filter, the people can go at a higher speed than usual when they are approaching to that one. So they got just like 10 meters to react if they see anyone in the road. Okay. The next thing that I would like to talk now is about the road furniture and the landscaping. In here, we need to consider that having a collision at 40 kilometers per hour or more with a non-frangible road furniture may cause serious injuries or kill the road user. Okay. When we are undertaking a road safety audit, we don't check for the posted speed. Okay, we don't check if the posted speed says 60, 80, or 100. We check for the operational speed. Okay, yes, a lot of people is telling me, but how can you assure me that the average of the speed in this road is 100 kilometers per hour when it's posted to 80 kilometers per hour? Well, the only thing that you need to do, you need a speed survey, and you have the details for that one. So, to make the people traveling to the posted speed, we need to prepare physical ways to eliminate or mitigate this risk. For example, let's see the next pictures, okay? And let's see how can we improve. Look at this straight road that we got in here, okay? As you can see, we have allocated in the middle our columns in order to have illumination, okay? But these kind of straight lines that is 50 kilometers per hour, even if at 50 kilometers per hour you lose control and you crash again this kind of lamp poles, you are going to have a seriously injured or a death, with this kind of things, because it's not protected. again, also, this kind of curve that you got in here is 14 millimeters in height. 14 millimeters in height, it doesn't stop you to run over and have a head-on collision on the other side, okay? Look at this other one. This other one is 60 kilometers per hour. Look at how straight it is. And yes, you're going to have also pedestrians that they are going to be crossing. But can you distinguish properly the pedestrian crossing? Do you think that this is a road where the people, they are going to maintain 60 kilometers per hour? Look at again that we got the same kind of obstacles in the median, okay? And this kind of lampposts, they are not protected. They are not frangible, okay? That, well, I'm not going to say where is this part in Doha, because everybody that is from there will understand, but it's a very important road that it has a lot of political connotations, okay? I understand that one. But when the stage 3 road safety audit was done, we complained about the landscaping that they were putting in the median, okay? Because they were allocating this beautiful rock in the middle of the road, okay? And we advised them that, of course, that should be removed because that is not safe. It's a 50 kilometers per hour road, but that is not safe to have that kind of landscaping. However, when the road safety audit stage 4 was done, we found that they allocate the rock exactly. No, I don't think it's the same. Well, maybe it's the same that you got in the picture, you know, but it's a rock in the middle of a road. Why are we trying to kill people if they made a mistake? We shouldn't have this kind of landscaping in areas where you can have, you know, you can make a mistake with your car and you pay with your life. It's a very high price to pay, okay? Same road, but now we got all the street furniture like lampposts and palms. They're very close to the 3 lanes, that we got in here. Yes, of course, 50 kilometers per hour is the maximum speed, of course. But the way that the road is done invites you not to comply with the 50 kilometers per hour speed, okay? I know that enforcement should be allocated, but normally you don't put enforcement in 50 kilometers per hour roads, okay? Look at this other one. Again, we go to 60 kilometers per hour road, this one. What can I explain in here? That you can have a straight alignment in there, very straight alignment, that you are not mitigating or you are not reducing the speed of the road in order to keep the people in 60 kilometers per hour. That you have this one that is coming, is a trap lane that you need to join when to the main lane that is on your left. That you got also the cycle lane that is very, very confusing because it's painted in the same color than the asphalt that we got in there. And I saw people using that one to move their cars to go inside. Or that you got the lamp poles, as we have seen before, that these lamp poles, they are going to be an obstacle and they are going to cause a damage. Or that you can go over the other carriageway in the other direction and you can have a head-on crash. These kind of things, please. I understand that everyone that has done this design has complied with the standard. I know that by heart, I know that. However, why didn't we kill the speed in order that the people, they don't go more than 60? Because that is the main question. What can I do here in order that the people, they don't go more than 60? Okay. So the findings that I have as a road safety auditor is that the lamp poles, that they are non-frangible, that you need to make them frangible, relocate them and protect them. These are the things. Or if the lamp pole is not frangible, you need to relocate, protect, or make it frangible, okay, with adequate BRS or high containment curve. The hazardous landscaping, like the big road that we have seen before, we need to relocate or we need to protect it. Please, every single designer that is listening to me now, consider frangible furniture from the moment that you are starting your design. It is not as expensive as you think. It's similar. If you search properly, you will see that the frangible poles, they are going to save lives, and also is in the same scale of cost that you will have with the normal ones that you got Of course, I can understand that the contractor, they will have the issues because they buy things in bulk, you know, and they got a lot of things that they want. But if you designer, you put that in your design, the contractor will do as it is said in the project, okay? VRS and high containment curves, you know, like I put the 3F curve, should be our next option. If we cannot have the frangible, please try to protect them. And just in case that anybody doesn't know at this stage what is a 3F curve, is this kind of shape. This curve is tested, you know, in order that no one can run off this curve over the up to a speed of 80 kilometers per hour. It's tested. Everything is on internet, so no problem. And check all the testing that they have done for this one. Now let's see protecting hazard with VRS and curves. Okay, if you have a collision at 40 kilometers per hour again with a non-frangible object that can cause serious injury or kill a user. Okay, if we are considered using the VRS or the curves, we must calculate the level of containment required by the road, okay, by the road at the location of the hazard. I can promise you that only a couple of times I have seen that the designer has calculated what is the level of containment required on the road, because at the end, the designer, the thing that they do is, oh, I need to put VRS in here. They allocate in here, and they say H1, H2, or TL3 or TL5, but they don't tell me why, how they manage to calculate that one. So that is a calculation that is very simple to do it, and people, they should be doing it with their designs. Okay, in the interim advice note 002 revision 1, there is an absolute minimum requirement. Okay, and this can vary different with different parameters, the total number of vehicles that you got on the road, the heavy vehicles that you got on the road, the speed limit that you got on the road. So having that into consideration, it will tell you what is the level of containment that is required on the road. The lateral distance, that's another factor that we need to measure, okay? And we need to say, because the lateral distance, the working width, it needs to be calculated and included in the design. It's not the first time, and you will see picture about this, that we got the project, we need to put illumination in the road, we need to put the VRS to protect the illumination, and the VRS is going to have a working width that is bigger or longer than the distance that you have put the illumination, okay? And that can be a problem. Let's see the following pictures. For example, this is, I used to call this one the killer post, but not anymore. Not anymore. This was something that it was very bad at the time when you were coming from Lusail or when you're coming from the Pearl, and it was something that I was shocked when I saw it. Okay, but later I must say that this pole that we got in here, it has been protected. You can see that it's the same pole, same location, and it has been allocated like that. But it has been without any kind of protection for more than a year. I can say that because I was living there. And every single time that I was passing from here to my office to work, I was thinking, how the hell it happened? How is possible that someone that was designing the gantry here didn't realize about this one? And that protection came after that, because the people, they were complaining, the people like me, we were complaining about that. So I thought that when I saw that one, that it was sorted, I was super happy. But later I asked myself, have we learned anything about this? And the answer is no, because we still got the same kind of problems. Okay, you can see this is another part of Qatar, similar conditions, and we got the same kind of problem. This is even a little bit more painful for me when I saw this one. Imagine that you are in the road safety auditing of this road, and you realize that the pillar of this bridge, that is a magnificent bridge, a beautiful new road, is protruding into the hard shoulder. That is something that there is no communication between the people that they are doing the structure and the people that they are doing the road. Why are they using the same kind of framework? Yes, I understand that the framework, if you use it for the same kind of framework for everything, is going to be cheaper. But come on, you cannot have this one. You are creating a problem here. okay? And this is not easily sorted out. This is the one that I was talking before. You got the DRS, and you got within the working width, you got the illumination pole, okay? And this is something that is very, very common because no one has told them that the illumination came after or the BRS came after the illumination, you know? Oh, another one is when we are doing the new roads for areas that they are going to be developed. We care about the roads that we are using to develop the area, but when the road is built, we cannot leave areas like this having a vertical decibel of 1.2 meters, because if someone lose control here, and when this kind of a slope that is maybe 1 in 2, the one that we got in here, the people is going to roll over, and this is going to be a serious problem. So when we are doing the design, we should put in the notes that the adjacent areas, if they are not protected, they must be protected if the slope is going to be from 1.4 and less, okay, or 1.6 and less, you know. 1.4, 1.6, they don't allow you to tip over, you know, to roll over, and that is something that it will be helping you, okay. This one I have put it twice. The first one is, this is a balance pool that we got for the drainage water in here, but look, it has been allocated close to the pedestrian path, close to the cycle path, okay, so the people, they can go in here. And I also have made the same picture for the next one, because if you realize these VRS, these poles, the little ones, they are not going to be able to deform and give the working width that is required, because you got the pool just behind them. So having the pool behind them is not going to help to redirect the car if they got an accident, okay. And here is another one that I like to show, because the drop of this one, it was 1.1 meter. I didn't put the measure, but that is the thing that you have. So if you taking the filter or going from here, lose control, first you go to this kind of bushes that I think is very hard, you know, the trunk that you got in here is quite hard, but if not, you got a difference level of 1.1 meter. This is a way that we normally undertake a road safety audit, and you can see how close from the road and non-protected is this kind of pillars. And you say, well, it's not bad. Well, I can say, yes, this is not bad. You can see that the curve is a little bit higher than 14 millimeter. And you say, okay, no problem. Well, maybe it's not a problem, but what if we got this? This is a new bridge. It's a new bridge. And we got the illumination in there. So why couldn't we put the illumination like this one outside hanging in here? Because everything is possible to do it like that. Why do we need to put it in the middle of the hard strip that we got on the bridge? That is something that when you ask the contractor, you cannot do this, they tell you, no, I have done it like in the project. Come on, we are designers. We need to be careful with the things that we are doing. Maybe the designer was not intending to do that. I'm sure about that. Maybe the designer was thinking that this is going to be hanging from the bridge or something like that, but no, at the end, what it came like that. And this is really a huge risk, you know? The finding and comments that I got for this one is that piers, we have seen they are fully exposed to traffic with no protection. We need to protect them, okay? Exactly the same with the lampposts and traffic signals that they are exposed. Relocate, protect them with adequate VRS or high containment curb when the speed is not over 80 kilometers per hour. The areas that we are developing, and we got a slope that is going to be less than 1 in 6, okay, adjacent to the road, we need to be graded, you know, that land should be graded, but the owner of the land can complain, or it needs to be protected, because we cannot leave that kind of things in that way. VRS and 3F care should be considered when we are relocating, or we need to use frangible items, okay? But please, frangible items is the best option. Always try to go for frangible items. And all these items, they should be identified and included in the design as early as possible. in order to avoid situations as we have seen in the pictures, okay? The vertical intrusion, that's another one that is very good. It's a very common issue, you know, that the designer failed to have into consideration the vertical intrusion when you are assessing the kind of barrier that you are going to put, or the containment and the height near the interchanges are adjacent to bridges and piers. In this kind of case, you know, there is a very serious risk of rollover type collisions. And collisions with piers of a bridge is very, very serious. Normally, the height of the TL5 barrier needs to be increased, you know, 0.8 meters, go to 1 meter or 120, whatever is required in order to avoid that we got that tilting, okay, in order to accommodate what we call the zone of intrusion. It's so important that we don't want to have images like this one, okay? I say, yeah, but that is not happening in Qatar. Well, in Qatar, it's not happening, but you got this one that is a normal 0.8 TL5 that we got in here, H2 containment TL5 in here, 0.8. And these piers, if you are coming from here, okay, you can tilt your track and you can crash in this area that you got in here, okay? I think you can see much better in this way. This is a serious risk. Another risk that road safety, the designer or road safety auditors, they are going to comment in order to facilitate the design to our colleagues that they are producing the project, is the exposed barriers, the ramp end terminal. Ramp end terminals I have seen all over the world, exposed barriers all over the world. In fact, Javier yesterday shows the case of that Cuban girl, okay? But that is because the nose of the barrier was not well treated, okay? Use a ramp end terminal will increase the risk of vehicles to be launched the guardrail, resulting in injury, in serious injury. Sorry, I got a misspelled in there. I had just seen it. For example, in here, look at the way that this barrier is end. Okay, it's starting like that. Okay, you can say, well, no, the construction was not done. No, the construction was done, and it was like that. Look at in here the ramp terminals that we got in different situations. All of those, they are facing the oncoming traffic, okay? If someone loses control and someone goes at a speed, you know, higher than the one that you got in there, 30 kilometers per hour, I don't think so, but if you go 40, 50, 60 kilometers per hour in this kind of road, that is something that I have seen it, okay? And you lose control and you go over this kind of end barrier, you will be flying with your car. There are several videos, but I didn't want to put any video here because it's going to do the presentation very heavy. But there are several videos where you can see that a car takes this ramp end terminal and the car is flying, literally flying, okay? Another one is when you don't have the ramp end terminals, but you got a block of concrete just straight like that, and you can crash against that without any kind of protection, okay? This is all over the world. I had just allocated pictures that I got from Qatar because it's Qatar University who called me for this kind of presentation. And this is why I have put several examples in different parts of Doha, okay, as you can see. Another thing that I would like to talk is about when we are talking about the terminal end and the joint between different kind of barriers, is if you got a temporary barrier, like is the one that we got on the right-hand side, that is the concrete one, or and you got the permanent barrier, that is that one. Okay, even if it's a temporary barrier and a permanent barrier, the way that we join these two systems in order that they work together, it needs to be professional, it needs to be good, because the thing that you got in here is a weak point and is also something that can shave your car, okay? This is not good enough. This is not protective, not protection for the road user, okay? This kind of link is very common to see. Meanwhile, the construction of the road, I understand that the project is not going to say anything about this kind of link, anything about this kind of joint. However, when you are doing the construction, you must have a project, the way that you are going to build everything. So you must detail in that other project the way that you are going to be doing this construction work, okay? As I said, the Interim Advice Note 002 allows rampant terminal in low speed environment, and when the cars cannot hit them directly. I discovered that a lot of people, they were using it, and they were telling me that they are allowed to use it because this says that, and there is a typo. Instead of it says in the interim advice note, it says or, and it should say and, because with or is this situation or this other, and this is why the contractor, they were taking that for granted, and it was very hard to convince them that no, that they shouldn't do it in that way. Do not use rampant terminals for approaching traffic, okay? If they're facing the approaching traffic, do not use rampant terminal, okay? Choose the correct barriers and treatment from ASGAL approved list for barriers and terminals, transition and crash cushions, okay? That is something that is always allocated in ASGAL website and is very, very useful. The designer must include, and I put in here, must include notes in all drawings, everything. It's not the same that we put this drawing is to scale, blah, blah, blah. It should be taken care, blah, blah, blah. This kind of note that we got on the right-hand side of every single drawing, we must have a note that they say the level of containment that is required for the attenuator that we're going to be using, the location of it at the design speed. With this, the contractor is not going to be able to say, I didn't know, okay? These are tested devices, okay, that you can allocate as attenuators at beginning of barriers, and this is what I was talking about. I'm sorry, I didn't have the most up-to-date one. I got this one from 2018, and it's the one that is to illustrate the kind of manual that ASGAL is providing everybody to be aware about the new things that they are coming into the market. Of course, okay. This was quite funny. The first picture that you see here is when I did the road safety audit, 2 different contractors, same road, and that was the end of the limit of work in one contractor and the beginning of the other one. And this is the way that I found that they allocate the safety barrier, you know. So I told them, you need to change, you need to fix it. And when I told them that, this was the way that they showed me that they fix it. So I thought that that was a joke, okay? So please, just use your common sense a little bit more, okay? Another one that is quite good is merging into main roads. That is something that it can be a little bit tricky and complicated, okay? Because we can have a T-bone collision at 50 kilometers per hour or more with another car and can use injuries or kill someone on the road, okay? If we merge with a sharp entry angle, we reduce the driver visibility, okay? So that is going to make us difficult to judge if we got a gap or the speed the other car is coming, okay? In the past, and I'm very happy that this happens because Qatar is evolving and Qatar is evolving very well in this way, they used to allocate tapers in order to do that. But taper is not a solution anymore. It is a departure. And I'm super happy when that happens. You know, in the Qatar Highway Design Manual 2015, they were saying that tapers now is a departure. You cannot use taper anymore unless that you justify where you're using it, okay? Let's check the next pictures that we're going to have in here. This is the way that we see the road when we are driving. We got the green area, that is where we can see everything. We are focused. We got is the area that we have at the speed that we go. In there, we perceive every single detail. We got the yellow area, that is another ellipse that is outside of this one, where in there we can perceive movement, you know, different kind of movement, different kind of silhouette that they are coming. And we got the red area that you can die in there. That means it's completely outside of our visibility. So even if you allocate signs, if you don't allocate it properly in a place where our eyes they are going to be used to see them, they can be completely ignored. Okay. So the thing that I was talking when we are merging into the main roads is about what the arrow is marking us. That is the conflict area when we are merging. Okay. Just check this one. Look at this drawing. You are merging from this collector road to the main one. Okay. The visibility that you are having in here for this oncoming traffic is very poor. Okay, so it's not something that you can rely. It's better to allocate other kind of arrangement instead of that. And as I said, I'm super happy because I saw that was sorted in the QHDM, as I said, and now they are saying that instead of having this arrangement that it was authorized before, and we can see in many places in Doha, okay, this kind of arrangement is the one that is coming now, in order that our entrance is going to be done between 70 and 90 degrees. And with that, we are providing visibility to everybody. So yes, it requires a lot more land, but it's a lot more safer than the previous one. We can see also that, as I said, the taper, like the one that we got in here, is a departure from standard, okay? And this is also in the manual, and that is fantastic that they do like this, because a lot of people, they were having problems to merge if it's a very congested situation. If you got a junction, you go like that, 70 to 90 degrees, fantastic, brilliant, no problem at all for visibility, or you put an auxiliary lane. You put the auxiliary lane, and that is going to contribute that you go at a speed before you are going to merge into the main road. This one is also applicable to the one that we got with traffic signals. When we got traffic signal, we can have the yield, this one, 90, 70 degrees, or accelerating length, okay? The acceleration lane, as you can see, and the 70 to 90 degrees will improve a lot the safety. And in here is also included that you need to put tactile paving for the impaired vision, impaired people that they. So when I received this one, that is in 2015, I was very happy because they were taking into consideration a lot of the comments that we were doing when we were doing road safety auditing in there. For example, look at this beautiful crossroad that we got with traffic signal. Everything is 70 to 90 degrees. It's very nice, and it has improved the filters. They got also improving the filters to 70 to 90. Another thing that I haven't said yet is that pedestrian, they were a little bit unprotected in the legislation. However, in this QSDM, they say that you need to considering the safety of pedestrian as the most important factor. So this was turning everything upside down, and I was incredibly amazed with that change, because from not having into consideration the pedestrian and giving priority to the vehicles, now the pedestrian is the safety of the pedestrian is the most important factor. And they don't say that only in one point, they say also in another one, if an signal crossing is provided, it shall be situated on top of a raised table, a section 3.5. So it's explaining you the way that you must protect pedestrians. So, or you use, as I said, the push button, okay, when it's a signalized crossing, or you use a raised table, as you can see in here, okay? So these two things, they make a significant change in the road safety that we were implementing in Qatar at the time. And I know that they continue evolving, and they continue bringing more into consideration this kind of road features that, for me, if Qatar, that is a fantastic place, and they got the resources for doing that, if they can do it, everywhere can be copied, the good school that they are setting about this kind of things. Speed. Another thing that we need to have into consideration when we are designing. The speed of the road, if the speed of the road does not match the road function and the road environment, okay? That is something that is very difficult to comply with a posted speed of 50 kilometers per hour on a dual three lanes carriageway separated by the median, as I have shown you before. When we're asking the MOI or the police or anyone to put a camera, a speed camera, they're going to tell us something that is logical. In 50 kilometers per hour or less, it's not practical to put it. But we realized that in those areas, the people, they were traveling 80 kilometers per hour or more, okay? So what can we do for 50 kilometers per hour? Well, we need to reduce, the width of the lanes. That is something that is going to make the operational speed to calm down. Properly traffic calming measures, okay? For dual 3 lanes, 80 kilometers and above, separated by median, all the hazards that we got in there, we must protect it, okay? And also, speed cameras, they can be allocated there. Look at this one, is the similar than the one that we had before, okay? This width can be reduced. Sorry, this width can be reduced, and with that, this kind of measure will be tried to make our traffic to calm down. Trap lanes. That's another thing that we need to be aware. Okay. Normally, sometimes we find that there are lanes that proceed to a particular movement without any advanced signing and markings. So I take the filter in a traffic signal, continue by straight, but I don't have time to wait because of the traffic. But this lane that I have joined is not the main lane. It's a trap lane because that is going to take me out of the main lane again. So this kind of trap lanes encourage you for a late braking and suddenly changing your lane, okay, leading to a possible side swipe or rear shunt collisions, okay? The trap lanes normally are annotated or denoted by dotted line markings, but the motorists, the people that they are driving, they don't know all of them, the meaning of those dotted line, okay? They are not familiar with that. So it's therefore a little bit more helpful to provide additional or repeated sets of advanced arrow marking to assist motorists to make this decision in advance of the signals, okay? So as soon as you are entering into the trap lane, you should indicate with that arrow saying you should join or merge the main line, even creating a ghost island, in order that the people, they wave outside to the main lane, and later after the ghost island, the people, they can take the filter to go to the other location that they want to go, okay? This is an example of something that you can find in the project, okay? Is if you are not an engineer or you are not an expert motorist, okay, normally you don't find any kind of difference between this kind of lines, the dotted line that you got in here, the dotted lines that they are indicating the different lanes to travel. Non-motorized user, designing for them. We have common issues, that I would like to raise in here. The available width that we have in the footpath or the footway normally is taken by traffic signs, lighting columns, landscaping, feeder pillar, parked cars, and all of this can create a lot of hazards, trip hazard, and they can obstruct the way that the people, they are moving through the footway. And some of them, they even need to go down into the carriageway and walk in the middle of the road, okay? So that is something that we need to have into consideration when we are designing. The lack of aligned flash drop curves, okay, in order that assist the people that they are disabled or that they are having a push chair, or a bicycle, or the poor lighting provision. Many areas that I have been traveling, I have found that the pedestrian footpath, they don't have adequate provision for light, and that is going to make very difficult for partially sighted pedestrians to observe any hazard that they can find in the footway. I meant to say that the people that they are walking on the street, they need to be visible too for the motorist, okay? For example, look at this one. Beautiful residential area, but we got the plant in the middle of the footpath. So in here, the people, they need to go outside of the curb and go for that one. Look at here. we got the planter again with a beautiful tree, but we got our lighting poles, and also the rubbish bin is in there with a car park. So how can a pedestrian, let's say a child with a bicycle, a small child, or an ancient, an old people that is moving from there, or if you are having your push chair, what can you do when you are arriving here? Please provide adequate distance, adequate width, okay, for pedestrian. If you need to put planters, if you need to put the lighting columns allocated in a way that is not just the standard say that I need to put it every 25 meters or every 30 meters. No, think, because if every 25 meters you find that you have put a planter, move one or the other. Don't be blind. Don't say that I'm complying with the standards, because you are not doing their life easy, okay? Look at this one. The people, you are going to tell me, but it's not my fault that the people is parking on the footpath. Of course, it's not your fault that the people, they are not having manners to that. However, did you investigate if in there was an embassy place or a focal point of attraction where maybe it was required a lot more demand of parking? Yes, no, that is up to the designer to check. If you know that this is going to be like that, do you need 2 lanes for cars? If it's a residential area, do you need 2 lanes? Can you put 1 lane and do only one-way system in there, increasing the size of the parking and for pedestrians, and they don't need to be walking on the street? This kind of questions is the kind of questions that a designer should have into their brains, okay? Look at this one, no drop curves, okay? Let's make the life of the non-motorized user easier. That is the only thing that I'm trying to aim. I understand that everything is okay, but if we put a drop curve, a lot of people, they're going to be happier with that one. For example, in here, you make a new bridge to connect one side and the other of the road. It's not a pedestrian footbridge, okay? It's just for cars. However, because in one side is residential and on the other side you got a shopping mall, a lot of people, they're going to be using that. Can we ignore that? If we're communicating 2 areas that there were no communication, they were not having communication before, and we know the pedestrians, they are going to be using that one because we know, can we ignore that? If they're using it, let's make safe for them. We cannot ignore, at least I cannot ignore, that people from a residential area, they will go and cross for the new bridge to go to the commercial shopping. I cannot ignore that. So I will do everything on my power in order to make them safe when they are walking. Okay. Maintenance. We always need to consider maintenance as part of our design. Utility covers should be located outside of running lanes to encourage easy maintenance and minimize traffic management. That is very important, the traffic management plan. Maintenance for landscaping should always be considered, especially when staff will be exposed to live traffic during pruning and watering. Why am I saying this? Because if we allocate a project where it's going to be very beautiful, this part, but we need a constant maintenance in there, in our designing project, we should put the way that this is going to be maintained. We cannot have things like this that you can see in there, the people completely ignoring the traffic, not having any kind of protection. And also, you got 3 people, 2 of them doing the work and the other playing it with the mobile, not even checking the traffic that is coming. Okay, so this kind of things, I understand, oh no, we have passed this to the maintenance company. No. You as designer, when you are allocating all these beautiful pots, because it's beautiful to have it like that, you need to explain how these pots, they need to be maintained. As designer, is your responsibility, okay? So, as Dr. Weil told me that I need to use 60 minutes, I think I have done a little bit less than that, 55 according to my watch. If there is any question or anything else, I'm going to be here. Thank you, everyone. And I hope you enjoy with this one. This is just a glimpse of the hope that we can be doing for everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miguel. Thank you for the very informative presentation. A lot of examples, a lot of points you have been raising for different road users, either for vehicles and for pedestrians, vulnerable road users. I have so many questions. It is not easy to summarize them. Many questions are too much micro on a specific safety issue, but let me start from a macro level. First, what is the problem with the design standards? And when we talk about road design standards, what are the limitations in general, in a macro level, when we talk about road safety? Most of the road designers
Yeah,
will
no,
tell you our designs or our standards consider safety.
yeah, I'm not saying that the standard is not safe. I'm saying that the standard doesn't comply or doesn't guarantee road safety. Not that the standard is not safe, that it doesn't guarantee the road safety. Because when you do the standards, you are putting minimum requirements in order that the road is viable, that they are minimum requirements, nothing to go beyond in order to make it safer. Okay, this is what I want to transmit to the designers, that if they take, for example, a road safety auditor course, training course, even if they're not going to do road safety audits, they will have other eyes, other perspective when they are doing their design. And they will say, okay, I can follow this standard, but in here I'm going beyond. Because normally what I always find is that they go behind, underneath, they go for departures, and they know how to use the departure. I know that I was in that side too. I know how to use departures in my convenience. No, because if you got in one point accumulation of departures, you will have accumulation of risk. Okay.
So let me elaborate on the same issue, because most of the maybe our participants, when we talk about design, they go too much micro to level of a specific element, a specific road location on a road. Of course, in road safety audits, we check all this in the different stages of the design and planning and design and so on. However, the concept in the beginning, we have road design that considers alignments, cross sections, furniture of the road, and then we have functional classification of the road. We have the road hierarchy, and then you have safety. So how these are connected? If I am driving on a local road of 50 kilometers per hour on a very wide lane, very straight, I don't have any. So the self explanation of that road, it tells you to drive 80, and then you will have a problem. And this is, I'm not sure your comment how in road design we need to consider the hierarchy, the functional classification, the design speed in the design elements of the road.
Bring the road safety at the beginning of the design process. Work your design having into consideration what is the road going to be used for, what is the demand that you got in that road. Okay, don't just draw a couple of lines that they are going to be straight. I'm going to put, because it's a residential area, I'm going to put 30 kilometers per hour, but because I got 3 kilometers of a straight road with 2 lanes, 3.65 width, and you put 30 kilometers per hour, the people, are they going to travel at 30 kilometers per hour? Consider what you are doing. What is the road for? Which are going to be the user? Okay, and in that way, you will design properly. Even more, when you are using those standards to design properly, take a road safety auditor or a road safety specialist, not auditor, a specialist, to give you his advice, interim advice, make him participate of the project. Even that person later is not going to be auditing the road, but his input, meanwhile, the design process is going to be paramount. It's going to be very good for you.
And actually, following the same issue, this is very clear problem when we talk about residential roads, residential areas, areas where we have a mixture of different road users, pedestrians, cyclists, vehicles, and many countries they don't have low speed road manuals or guidelines, and they have only general specifications that they are using, and it becomes so much close in terms of furniture and design from collector or arterial roads. How do you comment on that?
Yep. No, the thing is, as I said, the problem that you have is not that you cannot put an arterial road in a residential place. That is not common sense. That is not, you cannot cross an area where you're going to have families living, schools or something like that, close to an arterial road. You cannot do that. This is why, as you have said before, Dr. Well, the hierarchy, the use of the road, the uses that you're going to have, the demand that you're going to have is the most important stages, because all of them, they're going to make, if you combine all of them very well, you are going to have a proper safe road. That is the important thing. The road must send a message about how it needs to be driven, like that. When I'm in a road in the middle of the mountain and the road, it has a lot of bends, one to the other, I know that I cannot do that road at 180 kilometers per hour. I know that I need to go at 40 or 30 because the road is telling me, hey, you go faster, you will die. Well, that is the same kind of message.
The discussion, I think I received many questions following the same issue on the question chat, that standards do not include many of these common sense or safety measures that need to be taken. And when Safety auditors propose these measures, they are proposing something beyond the standards. And then they have claims either from the contractors, either from the, so why these things are not part of the standards?
Because the standards are evolving. As I told you before, the 2015, they had the 1998, and it was in black and white, and it was very bad. When they brought the 2015, I was super surprised, super happy, because comments that we were doing for the road safety auditing, it was taken into consideration. And the next revision, it will bring more comments from road safety specialists, because the standards, they are not a document that is stopping time. The standard evolve, okay? The standard, as I said, is a minimum. Always remember that. All designers that they are listening to me, minimum, okay? Nobody is telling you that you cannot go beyond, okay?
So I could summarize that the message that based on local safety problems, based on local conditions, local design standards has to be always alive, to be updated and upgraded, to consider required safety features that are reflected in the design stage. Another comment here I have is regarding pedestrians. You talked a lot about pedestrians, and there are several comments regarding the channelized right turns on intersections. Is it safe to have a separated channelized right turns at intersections where usually the turning speed is higher, and this poses risk for pedestrians? Several standards worldwide, they might not recommend having such kind of slip or separated right turns.
Okay, as I said, when you are having a filter, okay, and you got the pedestrian crossing in the filter, now in Qatar is recognized that you must put, if it's not traffic control, you must put it on a raised table. If it's 1 lane, 2 lanes in a raised table, never, okay? 2 lanes, push button, okay? If it's traffic control, if you got a traffic signal controlling that one with a button on demand, as soon as you press the button, red light for the cars, pedestrian cross, no problem at all. But it's one or the other. You cannot leave it at grade without any kind of protection, because as you have just said, it's a filter, and because it's a filter, the people, they are going at the speed and they don't check anything else, unless that you allocate road markings saying that is a pedestrian crossing, vertical sign saying you need to yield to pedestrians, put the raised table or push the push button.
I think the question is more about one lane right turners. So which is more environmental friendly and more logical to be done? Is it a raised crosswalk on a separated right turn, or do not have a separated right turn? Make the vehicles turn at the intersection to do sharp right
for
turn.
me, Dr. Wild, it's very easy. It's very easy the answer. If you got time and money to segregate every single road users on the road, do it. Because if you segregate the road users, you don't have conflict. And if you don't have conflict, you're not going to kill each other, okay? However, if you don't have the time or the money to segregate that one, you need to mitigate or minimize the possible risk, and always protecting, as in the Qatar standards they are coming now, protecting the vulnerable road user, just like that, nothing else. Don't jeopardize the pedestrians. You cannot imagine how many accidents I have seen where pedestrians they are involved, okay? And the highest rate of killers, of killed people, you know, on seriously injured accident that you got in a city, and now I'm talking about general in the world, is with pedestrians, okay? So this is why I'm always talking about them, and I will continue.
We have a few comments regarding clearance zone along highways or roads for roadside units. Now, the question is, usually this clearance zone is defined based on the posted speed limit. However, what if the operating speed is much higher than the posted speed limit? So then simply the provided clearance zone is not sufficient.
I understand that one. I understand that one. As I said, me, as a road safety auditor, I'm going to check not for the posted speed, but the operational speed. And I will provide the clear zone according to the operational speed. But that is me. Other people, they are going to be aware about the posted speed, and in there they are going to put the clear zone. Okay, they can try to do that, because if you see or you understand that there is a risk for the people in that clear zone, okay, you should be able to change it later on. But for me, it's very clear. Use operational speed, forget about the posted speed.
Yeah, but in the design stage, you don't have operational speed.
Yes, but in the design stage, you also consider, you know, to have a coefficient that you multiply that speed in order to give a little bit more protection. Okay, so it's like that. Everything is like that. You design for 120, but you know that that bend is going to be able to take it in 140, even you post it later for 100 kilometers per hour. So you are always having a design, you know, the design speed and the posted speed is completely different. It's not the same. If you do it the same, you are taking, because I know that sometimes that the design speed is the same than the posted speed that you're having in there. Just remember that you are removing grades of safety in that road, because you used to have a cushion, okay, where you design at a speed, and later you put a different posted speed, and now that cushion has disappeared. Okay, that's something that we need to have into consideration too.
And this is also follows to the crash cushions. We received a few comments about the crash cushions. Are they safe for all the fleet of vehicles on the road? Are they safe for a crash with a truck or a heavy truck?
Well, they are tested, all of them, and every single one of them, they tell you which is the test that it has been. Okay, so if you are putting a TL3, that the TL3 is tested for this kind of car and this kind of pickups, okay, don't try to put an 80 tons truck against that, because that is not going to be available. It's not going to make the function. Okay, so you need to check what is the, as I said, the level of containment that you require in the road, and according to that, you allocate the barrier and the crash cushion. Okay, you cannot put the same crash cushion everywhere. That is not possible. You need to put different crash cushion for different needs of the road. And this is why it's so important that a good designer, made this calculation and said, my road is going to be in this point tier 3, in this point tier 5, I'm going to have H2. It doesn't matter what kind of test you are going to use, what kind of classification, European, American, it doesn't matter. Make it safe.
I totally agree with you. So
thank you. Thank you.
We exceeded that time now almost with we are about this webinar today is only for 1 hour. We are almost 20 minutes exceeding. I would like to thank you very much.
I manage the time well, Dr. Wael. I manage the time well.
Yes,
okay?
You are indeed. So thank you very much for the presentation today. Thank you very much for the very interesting discussion. I apologize. I have 125 questions on the list. I could not screen all of them. So we will get these questions all, and hopefully our presenters, we will be able to answer some of them and send you some feedback for those who raised the questions. Before I close this session today, I would like to again share with you my screen. I hope that my screen is being shared now.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So I would like to introduce tomorrow session. Tomorrow we will have the last session on this program, and it will be addressing road safety and tunnels. We will have a distinguished presenter, engineer Guillermo Montroliva, who will be presenting about the road safety in tunnels. You will be able to join that webinar using the same link you joined the webinar today. You don't need for any new registrations. The same link will be valid. Again, to confirm for all of you that those who attend the 3 sessions on the 3 days from yesterday to tomorrow will be able to receive a participation or attendance certificate that will be sent later on after the finishing or the ending of this program. I would like to thank you all for today, for joining us. I would like to thank Miguel for all his very interesting and enthusiastic discussion during the event today. Thank you all. Wish you a nice day, a nice evening, wherever you are, and looking forward to meet you to have the last session tomorrow. Thank you. Have a nice day. Thank you, Miguel. Bye-bye.
My pleasure.
Thanks.